Yo, yo. We're gonna be reacting on of funny stuff. Okay, right, right, so we're gonna be. But it's not. So you have to. Ooh, yeah, just. Yeah, that's how it's gonna go. How's it gonna go? That's how it's gonna go. How's it gonna go? How's it gonna go? Okay. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Bad boy, bad boy. What you gotta do? What you gotta do? Over for me. Bad boy. Bad boy, bad boy. What you gotta do? What you gotta do? Over for me. What you gotta do? Bad boy, bad boy. What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
In 22 years, I never have. This is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
It is therefore ordered that you shall be put to death by execution. God have mercy on you.
Can I please have a mom before I go? Please, let me just find my mom. I love you. I love you. Can I please have a mom before I go?
This is 19-year-old Krista Pike, seen here in a Tennessee court. Pike is facing charges for murder. Pike's madness started in January 1995 when she lured 19-year-old Colleen Slemmer out of her dormitory and into the woods. Pike was jealous of Slemmer and erroneously thought that she wanted to steal her boyfriend. For this, Pike corroborated with her boyfriend, 17-year-old Tatarul Ship, and her friend, 18-year-old Shadola Peterson. Together, she and her boyfriend assaulted and tortured Slemmer, while Peterson acted as a lookout. Not satisfied with the assault, Pike took an asphalt and hit Slemmer until she stopped breathing.
An autopsy confirmed she was slashed repeatedly with
This is 19-year-old Krista Pike, seen here in a Tennessee court. Pike is facing charges for murder. Pike's madness started in January 1995 when she lured 19-year-old Colleen Slemmer out of her dormitory and into the woods. Pike was jealous of Slemmer and erroneously thought that she wanted to steal her boyfriend. For this, Pike corroborated with her boyfriend,
It's gonna be happening.
17-year-old Tatterall Ship and her friend, 18-year-old Shadola Peterson. Together, she and her boyfriend assaulted and tortured Slemmer, while Peterson acted as a lookout. Not satisfied with the assault, Pike took an asphalt and hit Slemmer until she stopped breathing.
An autopsy confirmed she was slashed repeatedly with a meat cleaver and some other small cutting device, perhaps a razor blade or box opener. Authorities say she was then beaten over the head with a large chunk of asphalt from this pile.
She and her boyfriend then took turns carving a pentagram across her chest.
She had a massive circle with a star, upside down star called a pentagram. And if you don't know what a pentagram is, it's the upside down star in a circle, and it represents the goat head of Satan.
When I thought they just were scared at first from the jump as a platform, but when we got up there, everything changed. There was a preacher that was cut on her chest. Who did that? I did that. All right, don't tell me what it was. It was
She then took a piece of her skull as a trophy.
She had a piece of the skull wrapped up in a napkin in her coat pocket. That's a trophy to show that that piece she had fit exactly as a piece.
It shows that the peace you have is exactly as a piece of puzzle and has God.
It's a puzzle in the skull.
The group that
okay.
and went back to their dormitory, but the next day, her body was found and police swarmed the area. Following investigations, the teenagers were arrested. With everyone panicking about the murder and the pentagram on Slemmer, the police had to address the media.
It did not involve a university student. It did not occur on the bike trail. It was not a random or a stranger-to-stranger incident. The motive of the crime appears to be a love triangle. It appears that both of the females involved had been involved with the 17-year-old.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform made
Male.
But it wasn't a love triangle. Slemmer was not interested in Pike's boyfriend. According to reports, Pike was Just jealous. She readily admitted to luring Slemmer out to deal with her.
I wanted to get her off campus, and I had every intention of fighting her.
She revealed more grisly details of the crime.
You know, it's harder to hurt somebody when they're talking to you and you have to see another person. And I sort of shut up to hit her and she was still breathing. I said, Colleen, do you know who's doing this to you? And she was just going, just talking like that, but I don't know what was saying.
During her trial, the defense pointed out that she had a rough and abusive childhood, and that must have influenced her actions. But Pike herself noted that she knew what she was doing.
I knew exactly what I was doing. Everything that I did that night, I knew what I was doing. And I think I was taking things out on her that had happened to me years ago.
In the end, Pike was found guilty on all counts and handed the death penalty.
It is therefore ordered that you shall be put to death by electrocution in the mode prescribed by law, and that you shall be transferred to the custody of the warden at the Tennessee Prison for Youth. And further, on the 12th day of January 1997, your body shall be subjected to shock by sufficient current of electricity. May God have mercy upon you.
She couldn't stop her tears after she left the court.
I tried a ton of AI work tools. Then I tried Monday.com. Game over. Monday.com is
Can I please have my mom before I go?
Mr. Bates, please hold your Pike and the docs. Please hold it.
I love you.
Pike's boyfriend, the man she supposedly went through all this for, was sentenced to a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 25 years. Peterson was handed a 6-year probation. Pike is still on death row.
Krista Pike has tried on 3 separate occasions on both state and federal levels to get off of death row, but they've all failed. That's not stopping her and her legal team from giving it another try. Colleen's family says more than 25 years later, they're still looking for closure.
Just when you thought you'd seen it all, another convict surpasses Krista Pike's wild behavior. Enter 23-year-old Pedro Espinoza, who's in a California court on murder charges.
He needs the biggest punishment they can get is the death penalty, and from that day on, he can rot in hell. Thank you.
In March 2008, 17-year-old Jamil Shah was fatally shot by Pedro Espinoza, a member of the 18th Street gang.
When we go kill you, we're going to send a couple of guys down there and really make a mess of you. The execution style is a really beautiful way to do it because that sends out a message.
The shooting occurred after Espinoza saw Shaw walking home carrying a red bag and mistakenly assumed he was a rival gang member. To make matters worse, Espinoza was only just released from prison. In an emotional interview, Shaw's father recounted the tragic events that led to his son's death.
He was on the phone talking to his girlfriend as he was walking down the street, and she heard the guy walk up to him and they asked him what's. Said you from? Like, what gang you from? He didn't answer, and they shot him. He's not a gangbanger. He doesn't gangbang. He doesn't do none of that.
Espinoza was subsequently arrested. In court, his cousin Javier testified about his activities.
When you talked to the police, did you tell them, in fact, that Pedro talked to you that night, March the 2nd, about a football player that was killed, as shown on the news? No, sir. In fact, did you tell the detectives that Pedro told you that night that he did it.
I did say that, sir, but I did it for a reason.
But you did say that.
I did say that, but not literally because of the news thing. I said it because they were threatening me. They were threatening me, talking about it. That I killed a person, that I was involved with it, and that I was going to face like 20 plus years in feds in the state penitentiary.
Who told you that?
Detective Carrillo.
Didn't you actually say to the detective that he told me he did it? I saw it on TV. Didn't you make that statement?
I did see it on TV, but before it actually started. I heard about it even before before the police even came to my house. So I already knew what had happened to that student.
The prosecution asked pointed questions about his previous statement to the police.
Didn't you tell the police that Pedro told you, I killed the Twinkie that night when you were watching it on the news?
I did tell the police, but I never told them I seen it on TV. That was all a lie. That was just like a story I made up.
Didn't you say during that same interview that he did it with a gun?
That was the same thing I said.
Did you say specifically, he just told me he killed him? Didn't you say that?
I did say that.
After weeks of debates, Espinosa was found guilty. For sentencing, Shaw's uncle and nephew spoke to him.
The days when I was growing up, it was basically you use your fists. You don't just go and kill somebody cold blood. It's the coward's way out.
Shaw's parents also took the stand. The mother, a U.S. Army sergeant, made it clear that she couldn't forgive Espinosa's actions.
I find myself, I'm not that strong of a Christian because I can't turn around and say I forgive you for killing my son.
You should thank God. If you have your family intact and your kids and you're loving them and you're doing things, thank God for that. Because there's people like that don't give a damn.
Oh my God. Oh no.
Espinosa was promptly handed a death sentence.
It is the judgment and sentence of this court that for the crime of murder in the first degree committed under the special circumstance that the defendant intentionally killed Jamil Shaw II, the defendant, Pedro Espinosa, shall be put to death within the walls of the California State Prison at San Quentin in the manner prescribed by law upon a date to be fixed by this court in a warrant of execution, at which time and place you shall then put to death Pedro Espinosa in the manner prescribed by law.
The gang member is still awaiting his execution. However shocking Pedro Espinosa's actions were, it doesn't compare to the actions of 29-year-old Marlon Joseph, who is facing charges for double murders in Florida.
Son, I love you. You know I love you, but can you please just turn yourself in? You have to do this.
In December 2017, Kalada Crowell and her 11-year-old daughter, Kyra Inglet, were fatally shot by Marlon Joseph after tensions had risen.
EVE Online is a vast universe.
Had risen between Kyra and Joseph's daughter. It all began with a text message. On the day of the murders, Joseph's daughter informed him about an incident with Kyra. When Joseph arrived, a heated argument broke out between him and Kyra's mother, and he shot her. 11-year-old Kyra tried to escape, but Joseph chased her down and shot her multiple times. He went into hiding for days before finally being apprehended.
The police find Joseph, apprehend him, and take him into custody.
During sentencing, the judge spoke about the sheer terror 11-year-old Kyra must have felt. She had witnessed her mother being shot and knew the killer was coming after her next. Joseph was sentenced to death following the jury's recommendation.
Marlon Luis Joseph, you have not only forfeited your right to live among us, but under the laws of the state of Florida, you have forfeited your right to live at all.
Accordingly, it is hereby ordered and adjudged as to count one for the first-degree murder of Kalada Crowell, Marlon Luis Joseph shall be delivered into the custody of the Florida Department of Corrections at the Florida State Prison. You shall be confined there until a date certain selected by the governor of the state of Florida, and on that date you shall be executed in a method provided by Florida law.
Marlon Maurice Joseph, may God have mercy on your soul. This court is now in recess.
Joseph showed no signs of remorse for what he had done and now waits on death row for his execution. But Marlon Joseph isn't alone in his crazy actions. However, it's nothing compared to the explosive actions of 18-year-old Michael Bargo, who's facing murder charges in Florida.
15-year-old is beaten, then shot to death, his body burned to get rid of any evidence.
In 2011, Bargo and 4 of his friends lured 15-year-old Seth Jackson to a house in Summerfield. The group assaulted and battered Jackson. When he tried to escape, they dragged him back and continued their assault.
A 15-year-old child knew he was being dragged back into a house and was going to die.
Eventually, Bargo shot him multiple times at point blank.
Violence. Where actually is I? Did I?
It's me. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? You chuck it on that one, you chuck it on this one. Chuck it on the other, you chuck it on your sister, you chuck it on that one and you chuck it